We'll now turn some time over to Dan Matlock with United Fire for this year's special presentation of the Firefighter of the Year.
Once upon a time, 27 long years ago, right here in Centennial Hall during the opening ceremony, I presented the first United Firefighter of the Year award. Ever since, with the support of stupendous sponsors, we have recognized dozens of firefighters for their exceptional contributions to life safety. Due to COVID, last year was the only deviation since 1973 that our illustrious state fire school didn't materialize. The school's role is to offer certified training not readily available elsewhere. The overarching objective is to protect firefighters and their citizens from the many hazards of daily life. Courses range from basic skills to organization leadership. For good reason, we also celebrate our history. It's pivotal to learn from our past and amateurish to repeat mistakes. When we recognize our members, past and present, whose visions and dedication have advanced the fire service, it provides indisputable verification why we must never accept the status quo. This remains paramount since challenges to firefighters continue to grow, making the roles you perform essential now and always. This morning, I'm proud to chronicle the achievements of two pioneering firefighters who have made an indelible impact on fire school, our community, and candidly, on my own life. This enables me to share some of their outstanding achievements based on a personal perspective. Before their premature recent deaths, I had nearly a 4-decade connection with both Bob Costello and Jeff Piechura. For those of you that also knew Chiefs Piechura and Costello, it will come as no surprise when I say they had distinctively different personalities. Bob was categorical. Jeff was affable. Bob tended to be very serious. Jeff was amiable. Bob liked racing. Jeff loved to fly. Jeff had a constant hunger to learn. Bob was passionate about teaching. But even with many distinct character differences, when it came to ambition and leadership, they were both remarkable and true heroes at heart. Jeff and Bob both began their firefighter careers early in life working for rural Metro. They were devoted to public safety, got married at an early age, then divorced. I witnessed how stressful their splits were, and yet allowed them both to eventually find their true soulmates. They each rose to the rank of fire chief and built outstanding fire departments. Neither had an easy path, but that never deterred them. They thrived when presented the opportunity to innovate. I met Jeff Piechura in 1985. He had recently been transferred to Tucson by rural Metro and was a captain assigned to the Northwest Fire District. He often visited United Fire to pick up supplies on his days off, holding Stacy and Shelley, his twin 3-year-old daughters, in his arms. He was a very proud dad and clearly dedicated to his career. I admired Jeff, and we became friends. Soon after, I purchased a house in the Northwest Fire District. I was hoping to become a volunteer firefighter and was disappointed to learn their program was being phased out. Instead, Jeff suggested I join their Emergency Services Advisory Committee. For 13 years, I had the delight to closely observing Jeff, soon to be known as Chief Pie. He judiciously advised the board about the rapidly growing fire district and the potential benefits of hiring their own firefighters to staff the few fire stations they already owned. Once approved, Pye meticulously navigated the transition and built his own excellent leadership team. He accomplished this with extraordinary poise and grace. Next, he analyzed the potential cost savings and response benefits of combining neighborhood fire districts and resources. Jeff successfully negotiated an arduous consolidation process with the Flowing Wells Fire District, one of the very first of its groundbreaking kind in Arizona. Whenever I had a difficult question about fire district policy, Jeff was always my go-to guy. In the early 1990s, I was chairing the district budget committee, the first time Jeff requested funding for wildland fire equipment. He was concerned about something called the Urban Wildland Interface. The board couldn't understand in an urban community why they should be worried about wildland fires. Go figure. He ended up persuading everyone and got the program off to a good start. Jeff was always thinking steps ahead. Northwest Fire is now one of the largest fire districts in the state, has 11 fire stations, and a Class 1 ISO rating, which puts them in the top 1% nationwide. When I met Bob Costello, he was working for the State Fire Marshal's office as the assistant training director. He was responsible for regional classes and producing this fire school. Honestly, at first, I was quite intimidated by Bob. I would be talking and he would look me straight in the eye and not say a word. I wasn't sure if he thought I was stupid or just didn't care about what I had to say. But after a noticeable pause and a thoughtful consideration, he would typically provide a brilliant response. It was just as impressive when he would humbly admit not knowing the answer. I learned from Bob that one of the most sincere forms of respect is actually listening to what someone else has to say. He displayed rare emotional intelligence anyone could learn from. Working at the state naturally came with many financial and bureaucratic impediments, but that never stopped him. Fortunately, he had an excellent partnership with the Fire Training Committee. Working as a team, our program courses continued to expand and improve. Bob was determined to get as many Firefighter 1, 2, and 3 at the time certified. He made known the importance for fire departments to have the highest and most consistent level of care throughout the region. Bob and his fellow instructors extensively traveled rural areas for years on end to complete this mission. In the 1980s, using hydraulic tools for auto extrication was still a relatively new concept. I was the first factory-certified Hearst Jaws of Life instructor in Arizona, and United Fire donated 2 new sets of rescue tools for the state training program. And Bob, well, he was like a kid in a candy store. He created Arizona's first auto extrication certification program. To do it right, Bob required slides and video, which was not common like today, to demonstrate correct techniques. The documentation he developed for our state also became textbook references for fire departments throughout the country. Bob loved to teach. For 2 decades, he was a certified trainer at 6 community colleges. I still remember the moment 3 decades ago when I had an epiphany and realized that the Arizona Fire Service didn't have any statewide recognition programs. That's when I imagined a Firefighter of the Year campaign that would recognize great accomplishments to inspire firefighters, inform the general public, and express sincere gratitude. I believe the best place to present the award would be during this school's opening ceremony. During that time, Bob and I were working Safety 1 at PIR. Stuck together in the cab of a rescue vehicle for days on end, I had plenty of opportunity to present my idea. Bob immediately liked it, but explained ultimately it would have to be approved by the training committee. Frankly, the proposition was met with maximum resistance. They were very concerned about allowing a salesman on this stage. But Bob continued to champion the idea anyway, and after a few years, he finally won approval. In 1994, the first statewide award was presented thanks to Bob Costello. The benefits that came from lessons learned when recognizing outstanding achievement became evident. And Costello determined it would also be advantageous for people to learn about the impressive accomplishments of the many fire service giants that came before us. He developed the concept for the Arizona Fire Service Hall of Fame. And in 1998, the training committee approved that too. The beloved Friday night raffle fundraiser was also rolled out during Costello's reign as state training director. It's no surprise, considering all of their trailblazing, that both Bob Costello and Jeff Piechura ended up being inducted into the Hall of Fame. After leaving his state position in 2004, Costello joined the Buckeye Fire Department and quickly rose to the rank of fire chief. This was a time of rapid growth for the fire department and great opportunity. Armed with knowledge and experience, he became a visionary for the community. Bob assembled his leadership team and built multiple modern fire stations and purchased state-of-the-art fire apparatus. He was a program innovator. And when the Great Recession resulted in major city cutbacks, Costello even figured out a way to absorb the Buckeye Cemetery operations within the fire department. Bob's comforting personality made him a friend to everyone he met. He truly cared about others and the community. Nothing demonstrated this better than the innovative community paramedicine program he developed in coordination with the Banner Estrella Medical Center. The result has been a dramatic decrease in patients having to return to the hospital compared to statewide averages. This earned Bob the prestigious Healthcare Hero Award. Throughout his career, Costello's ability and accomplishments brought him lots of praise, including one for heroism. He was appointed by 2 governors to serve on the state's Emergency Medical Services Council and received an award for exemplary service to humanity by the Veterans of Foreign Wars and American Legion. Chief Pye was always involved in the community too. Since 1990, he served on 4 separate NFPA committees, was a board director at the Center for Public Safety Excellence, became heavily involved with the International City and County Management Association, and was a fellow with the Institute of Fire Engineers. Locally, he was instrumental in the development of the Arizona Fire Service Institute, was a respected leader of both the Arizona Fire Chiefs and the Arizona Fire Districts Associations. Plus, he enjoyed being a fire school instructor and participating on the fire training committee. Jeff could never sit still for too long. After retiring from the Northwest Fire District, he was hired as the Stockton, California Fire Chief. Most friends thought he must be losing his mind to take on that fire department's well-publicized problems. But the bigger the challenge, the more exciting it was for Chief Pye. Following that adventure, the Piechuras moved back to Arizona, and Jeff served as the assistant chief at Sedona for 2 years, and was then hired by the city of Tucson as a consultant. But Jeff's oldest and greatest passion, other than his family, was wildland firefighting. He decided to return once again to the extremely complex program of air attack as an aerial group supervisor. Over the last 3 years, he had flown on 148 missions. The huge Bighorn fire last year that burned in Tucson's Coronado National Forest was one of Chief Pye's most challenging assignments. This one happened to literally be right in my own backyard. My neighborhood was in an evacuation zone, so I called Jeff. Busy as he was, he answered his phone and greeted me with his typical, "How you doing?" I responded, "You tell me." The one thing better than having an eye in the sky is having pie in the sky. Jeff assured me not to worry. We got you covered. And he literally did. The aerial attack photo used in this year's Firefighter of the Year poster was taken by a Tucson newspaper photographer. That line could be seen from my living room. It's a wonderful illustration of Chief Pye's tactical art. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, Chief Costello was instrumental in providing CDC updates and the latest trends to his city's executive team. Under his guidance, Buckeye Fire and Medical began administering COVID-19 testing and vaccines. It's tragic and sadly ironic that Jeff died in a plane crash performing reconnaissance for the Cedar Basin fire, and Bob's life was shortened by the coronavirus. They literally ended their careers, as we say, with their boots on. I know they were both proud of their principles and convictions to improve the fire service to keep you and your community safe. The careers of Jeff Piechura and Bob Costello were remarkable. The Arizona Fire Service requires essential leaders just like them, now and always. I'm genuinely elated that they will also now forever be remembered as our 2021 United Fire Firefighters of the Year. These two symbols of excellence will continue to remind Donna Piechura and Juanel Costello who are both in the audience today, that their husbands' achievements and their own support and sacrifices will always be legendary to us. Now, it's your turn. We need young firefighters to take the necessary steps to become our next generation of leaders. Our future is in your hands. Learn all you can from this year's State Fire School, and please, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Well done, for certain. Two great individuals. Hey, I have good news. We're just about done. So, what we would ask you to do is we've got Gilbert Fire Training Facility in our rotation this year for facilities. Apparently, it's a little bit challenging to get to. So, for those of you who may not be familiar with the area, we would ask you to meet right here, actually right here, stage right. Anybody going